You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Rain and slush abound in western Montana. Good morning, this is John King filling in for Peter Christian. Your newscast brought to you by our friends at Dig It Excavation, bringing 30 years of excellence to every job. For all of your excavation needs, call 214-4292. Well, you could call it the wicked weather of the West.
I'm melting! Oh, what a world, what a world!
Well, the melting snow doesn't sound exactly like that, but towns are turning into lakes and interstates into rivers as rapid snowmelt combines with rain to soak western Montana. Yesterday, I-90 was closed for 12 hours as crews used plows to carve out snowbanks and give pooling water an exit. Missoula District Maintenance Chief Steve Felix describes the closure.
I-90 closed from the top of Lookout Pass, basically from mile marker 0 down to the St. Regis area about mile marker 33 due to some flooding, especially around mile marker 5 and around mile marker 22 and 23. Areas receiving heavy rain on top of all the snow it's received in the last couple of weeks. We've got water standing in places up to 3 feet high and running across the road.
3 feet high, no kidding. I-90 opened last night at around 10:30, but driving conditions are still considered hazardous. According to meteorologist Stephanie Henry, some road closures persist.
We've had quite a bit of rain, a lot of snow melt in the valleys that's adding to the road flooding that we've had. We do actually have some closures still up at US 2, Highway 2, up by Marias Pass, and we still have a closure in at Lovo Pass due to avalanche danger, but currently we still have some rain showers moving over west central Montana.
The rain may bring more closures and flooding. Henry says some areas in the Bitterroot are already swamped.
They're calling it Corvalis Lake flooding down there in the Bitterroot, so there's been significant snow melt down there. They're just experiencing just so much snow melt and really poor drainage that they've just accumulated so much road ponding and water in the area. It's been like that pretty much everywhere.
Henry says issues with flooding are occurring from the Bitterroot to Kalispell and all the way over to Salmon, Idaho. The National Weather Service has issued a flood advisory here in Missoula County. Missoula County Office of Emergency Management Director Adrian Beck explains.
The increased snow that remains in the valley, coupled with warm temperatures and forecast for rain in the future over the next several days, has prompted the Weather Service to issue a flood advisory for Missoula County for probably the next 36 hours. The main concern right now is that the rapid snowmelt could cause ponding on roads and drivable surfaces, and people should be cautious of hydroplaning.
In response, the county will be trying to help those in low-lying areas with sandbags.
Missoula County Public Works will have a pallet of sandbags that the public can come and take. Those sandbags are empty, and they'll be available from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. during normal business hours. We've not received any reports of any, but we encourage the public that if they see flooding that they think could pose a risk to public safety, to go ahead and call that into 911, and we'll have resources go out and evaluate the situation.
While supplies last, the sandbags can be picked up at the Missoula County Public Works office located at 6089 Training Drive from 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. today. Though the bags are free, citizens will need to purchase the sand to fill the bags. State wildlife officials have shot and killed a mountain lion near an elementary school here in Missoula. The Missoulian reports that the mountain lion was reported Wednesday by Patrick Colleran, who first spotted the animal while out jogging with his dog. The Missoula resident says the dog chased the mountain lion until the cougar climbed up a tree. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks located and shot the 115-pound male cougar near Rattlesnake Elementary School and removed a dead deer that it had been feeding on. Wildlife manager Mike Thompson says the mountain lion is likely one of a pair of siblings that have been working the Rattlesnake Creek drainage. Last month, game wardens killed a female mountain lion and 3 kittens after they killed 2 dogs on the northwestern edge of Missoula. The Montana Supreme Court this week denied an appeal for a new trial for convicted murderer Marcus Karma. Nate Holloway of the Karma defense team said he received the news on Wednesday from the Montana Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court did find that the lower court erred on one specific issue that was related to certain blood spatter evidence that was admitted. However, the court deemed it harmless error. So they essentially said that, yes, it was an error to admit that testimony, but it didn't contribute to the conviction.
Holloway described the reaction to the court's decision by the Karma family.
I have. That's obviously a really hard conversation, and it's deeply disappointing for everybody. But I'd have to say that they're not giving up. There's more levels of review. There's other legal remedies that can potentially be exercised down the road.
Deputy Missoula County Attorney Jennifer Clark gave the state's reaction to the court's decision.
We're very happy with the decision of the Montana Supreme Court in upholding Mr. Karma's conviction. It brings some finality to the family and to the community.
Karma was sentenced to 70 years in the Montana State Prison on February 2015 for the shotgun slaying of 17-year-old German exchange student Diren Didi for trespassing in his garage in April 2014. A man accused of robbing a Missoula convenience store before kidnapping a family and leading authorities on a high-speed chase has been sentenced to 26 years in federal prison. The Missoulian reports 36-year-old Thomas Dempsey was sentenced Thursday, and his accomplice, Nick West, received 15 years. Prosecutors say the two robbed the gas station, stole a car with the family still inside, and held them hostage while fleeing law enforcement. Dempsey and West pleaded guilty to conspiracy, carjacking, and using a firearm during a crime. Dempsey also pleaded guilty to kidnapping. On Wednesday, Carissa Kopp, who dropped the men off at the store the night of the robbery and was supposed to be their getaway driver, was sentenced to 9 years. Hannah Parker, who was in the car at the time, received 5 years. A Montana lawmaker is proposing a ban on deer and elk urine that hunters use to attract bucks if it comes from a state with a documented case of chronic wasting disease. Democratic Senator Jill Cohenhor also wants to keep out animal carcasses that come from those states with the fatal neurological disease. Montana hasn't found any wildlife with the chronic wasting disease, and it wants to keep it that way. But Fish, Wildlife, and Park spokesman Ron Oshheim says the disease has been found in 2 states and a Canadian province that touch Montana, and it's likely only a matter of time. Mitch King of the Archery Trade Association says his organization has been working with commercial producers to ensure the deer urine they sell doesn't come from animals with the disease.